Hello and welcome to the Deep Three podcast. I'm your host, the one, the only Salmon. Don't get me confused with the fish himself. Join with me, KOB and Jay Murphy. Welcome back, part two of our episode this week. Wrapping up some All NBA talk and some award recap as well. Gentlemen, let's get into it. Let's just jump right into the awards right now. So we just heard recently, Executive of the Year goes to James Jones. Phenomenal. I mean, basically just won by taking in Chris Paul, and then turned out to be one of the greatest pickups of all time. LaMelo Ball winning Rookie of the Year. Rudy Gobert, Defensive Player of the Year. Tibbs, Coach of the Year. Julius Randle, Most Improved Player. Sixth Man of the Year, Jordan Clarkson. And, of course, the Joker taking MVP this year. Do we have any questionable ones here? Do we think it's unanimous at this point?
I think this is the last time Rudy Gobert is going to win Defensive Player of the Year. He's not. He deserves it for his regular season when he is always very dominant defensively. But I think at this point, people are going to give him the treatment of like, well, he always gets exploited in the playoffs, and we just saw that. He got exploited. He's great at what he does. I think Draymond said it best. Rudy Gobert is a great rim protector, but you can put him in situations where he's uncomfortable. And Draymond said of himself, you can't put me in a situation where I'm uncomfortable. And honestly, I think that's kind of true. So yeah, I think this is the last time he'll get it. He was great in the regular season, so deserves it for that. But it's a bad look when your Defensive Player of the Year is giving up some nasty buckets to Terrence Mann and like Reggie Jackson and shit. Like it's just it's tough.
He's not made for this. Not made for this. Kevin, any issues with what we're seeing here in terms of awards?
Not really. I think pretty much everyone deserves what they got. I think the only one I have a question mark on, I think you and I talked about it last week, is Tibbs for Coach of the Year. I think Monty Williams definitely deserved it. I'm not mad with the Tibbs win. I mean, what he did in New York was awesome, don't get me wrong, but I think Monty Williams contributed to the success of the Suns more so than James Jones did, in my mind. But I don't know. But again, I don't think any of these are like giant snubs to anyone or anything like that. I think most of them are pretty accurate. Obviously, Jordan Clarkson, obvious. Julius Randle, obvious. Rudy Gobert, regular season obvious, like John said.
Yeah.
LaMelo, I think, is pretty obvious. So I'm not mad with any of these.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting because you bypassed one of the bigger awards with the MVP situation. Nikola Jokic, and I know we had a brief talk about this in the last podcast, and this is not to take away from Nikola Jokic. I think we all know, like, stupendous performance, really did carry this team through as much as he could. Realistically, at the end, it just came down to just the inexperience and just like lackluster performance from his team overall. I mean, Monte Morris was a no-show second round compared to his amazing performance in the first round. Facu was just a bit too short for his position and considered very annoying in a lot of cases. I enjoyed Facu a lot. Aaron Gordon, absolutely useless. I was not impressed by his skill set in this second round. First round, I'll give him his props there, but second round, you gotta stay in your lane. When you get 2 points when you enter the fourth quarter, that's a little concerning for what he was known for in Orlando. I know he accepted his role here, but I'm just saying when you get you gotta be a real contributor. And MPJ, so inconsistent. I was really hoping for a good spike for him, but he really came down in those last 2 games. And I mean, it was Suns in 4 right at that point. And the thing with MPJ is that he's still young, and I think when you have an off game, he can't come back unless his team is really driving him and getting shots in. But I have to ask the question: do we think Nikola Jokic won it based off it being a health concern this season? I think it does play a role, but do you think it was a big factor?
Yeah, I think it was probably a pretty big part of it, but I think that it's so I feel like people are trying to really like diminish what he did this season, which was like pretty historic and pretty incredible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I get like the argument for Embiid, and ultimately Embiid didn't miss like that many games in the grand scheme of things, but like it would have been weird if Chris Paul won. I'm sorry, like it just would have.
Mm-hmm.
And like it would have been kind of weird, and honestly, like attendance does matter, unfortunately. Like the games you play, it does matter. Otherwise, like fucking give it to Kevin Durant who played like 29 games, you know? Like there's I guess like there has to be a line somewhere. If Embiid won, I wouldn't have been like super mad, but it just felt like Jokic's year. I have no complaints about it. I don't think he'll be a multi-time MVP, but I think it's like fine.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree, and I think out of all the people in the MVP discussion, he's the only person that didn't have a narrative. He just played really well. You know, everyone had a story.
Yeah.
It was like Chris Paul supposedly washed, playing really well for what he was doing. Obviously, LeBron James, I would say probably snubbed of 1 or 2 MVPs in his previous years.
Yeah.
You know, revenge game basically at this point. Joel Embiid, just the process and like always being like one step short of glory. And look at Jokic was just being Jokic. He was just clowning around. And he fooled around and got triple doubles for days. That's kind of what he did. And he got his team dubs. I mean, you couldn't ask for more. I mean, shout out to him just staying healthy, really. I mean, that's more on him with his skill set because a lot of these guys play kind of unnecessarily aggressive in some many cases. And I just think that it's overall well deserved. But I would, once again, not to knock Jokic, I think if let's just say Joel Embiid only missed like 10 games, he probably would have got it just because he has a story to back him up, I guess you could say. But with that being said, I mean, I couldn't be mad at any of these picks. I mean, I know the whole Anthony Edwards kind of being a snub. I'm just saying Anthony Edwards had like a good 10 games. I'm just saying like it was fun. It was fun, but I couldn't ask for really more to be considered Rookie of the Year. I know LaMelo missed a good chunk of games, which would probably be why I would, you know, there's Anthony Edwards discussion, but I'm not mad. I think LaMelo did earn it. I mean, he got his team into the play-in. I mean, we'd never thought the Hornets would be the play-in team, and at some point a 4th seed in Eastern Conference as well. So, any thoughts there, boys?
About the Rookie of the Year?
Yeah.
I'm happy for LaMelo. If Anthony Edwards did win, I would have been fine with it because LaMelo missed a lot of time. And Edwards finished really strong this year and looked like pretty dominant at times offensively.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Like, it's so tough because I feel like I'm conflicting myself for what I was saying about the MVP. But Rookie of the Year is also just such a like low tier award that like I'm kind of just glad they gave it to the one who's gonna end up having probably the most impactful career. Other than Patrick Williams, like of the bunch. So I think, yeah, no, I know, but LaMelo's awesome. What he did this year, like he had everyone's attention pretty much every time he was on the floor. He's the one who had the most memorable season. People aren't going to look back and think about Anthony Edwards Rookie Year outside of like that one incredible dunk. Like, so I'm cool with it. It's like, it would have felt like when Malcolm Brogdon won Embiid's Rookie Year because Embiid didn't play very many games. He's been robbed of an award twice because of not playing enough games. But like, yeah, I'm cool with it.
All right. Kevin, do you owe LaMelo an apology? I know you weren't vibing with him probably halfway through the season. I don't know if there was an apology made, but I mean, I don't think anyone could be mad. I mean, this guy really proved himself. Like the Ball dynasty thing is like, I think it's gonna live now, just with both of these brothers just coexisting. Like people love playing with the Ball brothers. That's what I hear. It's like people love being with these guys. You know, obviously it's the whole persona they carry with the family and everything. But you know, it seems like everyone's vibing.
I think I did apologize before about him because I think he did prove me wrong, and I'm glad. I wanted him to. I wanted him to prove me wrong. Unlike Paul George. Paul George, I hope I'm always right about. But yeah, I think he totally deserves this award. And I think what really struck me is he got that wrist injury or whatever, and then he comes back right after and it just picks up where he left off. Like he was just very consistent throughout the whole season, and I think that's the biggest step up he had against Anthony Edwards for that award. Is he was good from game 5 or 6 onward, basically. Like he had a little rough start at the beginning, but then once he got his stride, he kept it the entire season. And I think credit to Anthony Edwards for how much he grew, but I think LaMelo deserved the award this year. So yeah, credit to him. I am very excited to see where he goes with his career and what he does. And like you said, I think the Ball brothers are back. That's fun to think about them and see what they do.
Okay. I mean, hey, it'd be fun, brothers played together back in high school. I'd be okay if they somehow came together. Lonzo said, screw this. I want to be in New Orleans. I'd rather be in Charlotte with my boy Jordan, MJ, repping the gang with LaMelo. I mean, and to be honest, get LaMelo a center and we're good. Like, this is going to be fun. And like you said in the previous episode, get Zion there. Like, that would be it's just a fun show at this point. Like, everyone would love to watch that.
I think Lonzo could do really good at that true point guard, and then you have LaMelo as the Devin Booker type of he can still facilitate from his role, but he's much more shooting focused, and I think that would be what he would excel at, where Lonzo wouldn't excel at shooting a whole lot.
I think you could even take turns at this point, because Lonzo did get better at shooting this year. I think that if you had that backcourt, it would actually be kind of interesting. LaMelo's better. He's someone you're just gonna have to give the ball to as much as you can. But that would actually be it would be kind of cool. They're both tall, so the size wouldn't be a problem. And that's interesting. Yeah, I kind of hope that happens at some point.
You know what? I was thinking about best backcourt. It's not in the brothers. What if we get CJ out of Portland and we put Lonzo there? Do you think that could be a beneficial factor, or do you think that Lonzo Ball needs a big man to truly facilitate his game?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I think he needs a big man a little bit, but I don't know. I think I think he needs one other main guy that he can go to, whether that be a Zion or big like Zion, or maybe that is just a CJ or a LaMelo or someone like that he can just go to and rely on and know that person will take care of business if he gets the ball to them. I don't know. I think they could use a big, but
okay, John, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I don't know if I don't think Lonzo fixes Portland specifically, just because he would definitely, I think, would be a defensive upgrade over CJ at least. But they need a lot of help elsewhere other than guard, I think. But I don't know where. I think CJ's probably going to get traded this year. It feels like it's finally time.
Yeah, it does seem like it. Maybe it's Philly talks. I mean, we'll have to see.
Philly for Ben Simmons could actually be a good fit potentially in Portland, just with but I don't know. I don't even know where Ben Simmons fits, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, if Portland wants to continue running small, I mean, the perfect center. You couldn't ask for anything more. So they can move at this point. But I think small ball Portland, it's not working out. I mean, they moved off from Terry Stotts. I know Dame expressed Jason Kidd wanting, and then it just completely died off as soon as. I don't think Jason Kidd should be anywhere, but as soon as Jason Kidd did not want to be in Portland either. So I mean, we'll just have to see. I'm just going to run through the all defensive teams. You just tell me if there's something concerning. So first team, Rudy Gobert, Ben Simmons, Draymond Green, Drew Holiday, the Freak. Second team, Bam, Jimmy, Joel Embiid, Matisse Thybulle, Kawhi Leonard. I did hear some rumblings. DeJounte Murray, I think, was snubbed in all this. I don't know. I just think that Jimmy Butler playing 20 games this entire season. I mean, I know it's more than 20 games, but it felt like not playing enough games also just played a role. But I mean, it seemed like too many 76er stars and only one Utah star? What are we thinking?
Utah, I think I have no problem with Utah only having Rudy on there because, as we saw in the playoffs, they couldn't guard anyone on the perimeter. It was just like layup line. It was, yeah, I don't know who I would even cut from this list if you wanted, like, because I low-key, like, I think Matisse being on there is, like, low-key awesome because he's kind of, he only plays, like, 20 minutes a game, but when he's out there, he's a fucking menace and, like, probably one of those people that you least want to be up against if you're in the league, I think, at this point, already in his career. It's just, he's really good. If you were to cut anyone, it would probably be like one of those Matisse, Kawhi, Jimmy people where like Jimmy and Kawhi didn't play as many games as they maybe could have. And I don't know, was Kawhi really playing defense like that this year? Like, was he really trying like that all season? I feel like he wasn't totally that locked in. Maybe he was, but so I think maybe if you were going to take him off, it would be on that second team. I think first team looks good to me. I don't really have any complaints on that, honestly.
No, I agree. And I think maybe if not Kawhi Leonard, I mean, maybe Paul George actually fills in the defensive role of this. I know he wasn't as aggressive as his OKC times, but I know that's the one thing we can't really question is that like Paul George does actually play defense. If he's going to be good at anything, it's I can rely on his defensive presence more than his scoring ability. I mean, once again, he does average like 30 points, like basically last series as well. But Kevin, what are you thinking about this defensive team? You vibing with them?
Yeah, I actually agree that I think Paul George could be on this list. As much as I shit on him, I mean, I shit on him for his non-clutch playoff scoring mostly, and is just he hypes himself up a lot. But I think what he is talented in is defense, especially. So I think he did that during the regular season. So I think he could be on this list, maybe just in place of Kawhi. I think I agree. The first team looks good. Glad to see Draymond get respect, even though he sometimes scored 5 points a game. Maybe he's kind of having that Aaron Gordon role almost, which I liked. But he was excelling at it, and he was doing great. Same with Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday is probably one of my favorite and one of the best defensive guards in the league, and I love his addition to the Bucks team, and I think he is a really underrated talent. So I'm glad to see him getting recognition. You know.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I mean, who doesn't love a triple single backpack shot from Draymond? But I'm obviously not always known for defensive presence and somehow making this lackluster Warriors, excluding the Steph Curry performances, still enjoyable to watch a Warriors game. Mm-hmm. But let's get into the real talk, all NBA teams. I'll run through the list and then we can have a discussion. So first team, Steph Curry, Luka Doncic, the Freak, Kawhi Leonard, Nikola Jokic. Second team, Chris Paul, Damian Lillard, Julius Randle, LeBron James, Joel Embiid. Third team, Bradley Beal, Kyrie Irving, Jimmy Butler, Paul George, Rudy Gobert. I guess just overall, do we think this is a pretty good consensus and like where they're put at least, or do we think that some people should be flipped here and there?
I like the first team for the most part, though I almost wish like if there was a time to do some kind of like of that silly like positional flexing they were giving for Jokic and Embiid where they were like forward eligible. Mm-hmm. I think it would have been worth it to put Embiid on the first team over Kawhi. But like I don't have too many complaints if they're going to stay because it's not like Jokic or Embiid did play forward at all. Mm-hmm. This year they both play center like exclusively, but I like it. I'm cool with it. Steph, Luka, love it. I'm a little surprised LeBron was second team. Mm-hmm. I don't know how you guys feel about that. I thought that he'd be like third team at best, just because of the games, frankly. But
yeah, I agree. I think he's for sure an All-NBA team. I think for sure should have been a third team. Obviously, there has been a downgrade in his performance, just because that's just kind of the role he's taking on. And I mean, with the team he has, I mean, he can only do so much, surprisingly. Um, Kevin, thoughts on these teams? How do you think they're looking?
I like the first team especially. I think I don't know. I kind of think Bradley Beal could be on the second team. You could make an argument for him on the second team, I think. I kind of agree about LeBron. I think he could be in the third. I don't know if I'd put Jimmy on there either.
Mhm.
I think that's one of the couple spots you could flex on that third team and put in someone uh, who played more games and played more consistently, I guess. I don't know if you want to like maybe move Bradley Beal up or something and put like Devin Booker on the third team, or I don't know. I think also Trae Young should at least be an honorable mention in consideration for the third team. But I think in general, first team I totally agree with. Second team mostly, and then third team I feel like you can kind of flex a couple of those spots. I don't know.
Mhm.
What, no Zach LaVine?
That's a little stretch. I definitely agree that I'm a little concerned about Team 3. I think the first 3 players I listed, I don't know if they should be on this list personally. Once again, I think as much as Bradley Beal was the second leading scorer, not number one. Let's make that clear. He was not number one. He was number 2. That's just even more insult to injury. You know, Steph Curry. Bradley Beal know your place at this point. Um, but I mean, Ice Trae, of course. I mean, our previous point from episodes before. I mean, Jason Tatum. I don't think he's ever going to get his respect. Just because it's so stacked. But the way he's been playing has been unreal, and the only safe Celtics player, of course. I know Devin Booker should get some love. I don't know if there should be 2 Suns players on this one, on between all 3 teams. I think Chris Paul's perfectly fine there, but. If you're going to put a Wizard, I'd probably put Russell Westbrook. I mean, triple-double again. I mean, 20, 10, and 10. I mean, it's pretty good and probably slightly more contributing to the win besides a 33-point game with a loss with Bradley Beal. But I think for sure Jimmy Butler should not be on the list. I just think that like a Jason Tatum would fit that role better because I believe Butler's listed as a forward in this case. So I think Jason Tatum played better, and it must have been just a COVID situation at this point. I mean, to be honest, do we think Donovan Mitchell got snubbed off of this?
Yeah, he also missed, I think the last month or so with that ankle sprain he had. He could have been on there, but I don't know who I would take. I'm very happy with, Kyrie being on there. He was, probably the most consistent. He was the most consistently available Nets star, surprisingly. And he put up a 50, 40, 90 season. Best scoring season of his career, I'm pretty sure, and he was legitimately awesome, and I'm happy with him being there, and so I wouldn't put Mitchell on there for him. I would probably, if I was going to take any of the guards off, it probably would be Brad Beal for either Devin Booker or Donovan Mitchell. I'd probably lean more towards Devin Booker. But I don't mind Bradley Beal there. It's just the Wizards are pretty wretched. And, yeah.
No, I agree. I mean, I think this for the first time, we're not really mad about the selections overall. It's probably just a couple flips here and there, but I think we know for the most part, probably 13 of 15 players deserve to be on here for sure. And it really just came down to the third team being the real hit or miss in my opinion. Maybe if you want to cause some riling up, maybe it's Damian Lillard getting snubbed. What? No, I mean, obviously Dallas had the late season heroics with Luka Doncic, moving up in seed as well. What about a Zion, a young Zion? Do you think that he could have made this team?
I think he totally could have made this team. Yeah, that would have been great. You could have put him in for Jimmy, maybe. I get why he was left off. I think it's such a weird year because so many people are not there, and it's just because of injuries. Where James Harden and Kevin Durant both not on there. And if they were healthy, would have been locks, because the way they were playing. So it's just like, and Donovan Mitchell got knocked off probably by injuries in large part, and it's just such a weird year for it. It feels like there were a lot of people who just either missed time because of COVID or missed time because of injuries that kept them off the list, which is such a bummer. Zion, his team was just not good enough. They just sucked. But he'll be on all NBA teams. He's going to be there probably next year.
Mm-hmm. No, exactly.
Because I doubt Julius Randle will be there next year.
That's a good point. I guess from what I said, who's not going to make it? I mean, we said Julius Randle probably won't, but I mean, do we think everyone else is going to be repeated moving forward? I mean, we still haven't seen James Harden, Kevin Durant. We got to snub someone else.
I know. Who would next year? I don't even know who would not be on this list next year. I have a feeling that Bradley Beal gets knocked off by James Harden being on there. Then it's probably Jimmy Julius Randle will be the first forward that gets knocked off.
Mm-hmm.
I think Zion knocks off Rudy Gobert.
If he could be center eligible.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. Yeah.
That depends. Yeah, that depends on the positioning stuff, though. So I don't know.
I mean,
maybe Bam will knock him off next year. Fuck, I think he's gonna have a lot to prove next year. He really, really looked so bad in the playoffs that I think he'll get that Giannis treatment of prove it to me in the playoffs. I don't feel like giving you regular season awards anymore. Choking, but now look where Giannis is. I don't think Rudy has that in him though.
No, I agree. I think it's Jimmy, Bradley, and Randall will probably be the ones knocked off. Guaranteed KD, guaranteed James Harden.
Maybe Chris Paul doesn't make it next year.
Mm-hmm.
If maybe Devin Booker becomes kind of the clear driving force of the Suns if Chris Paul stays there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd probably say Tatum, Trae, and Booker probably the next ones in. Let those three get out. But I mean, this is a tough class, and I think it's great to see that's the amount of star players from a good age range. We're still seeing Chris Paul play crazy well. LeBron James still playing pretty well for their age gap, and you're seeing the young guys come in and really just take over the game. And I think that was the concern, was that are we going to have a great generation like we had with the LeBron era? And probably people thought the same thing with MJ, right? I mean, they probably thought that, and then come 2003, we got one of the best classes in NBA history. D Wade and everyone coming there.
2018 might be kind of similar to that. 2018 class.
Agreed. Really, I mean, DeAndre Ayton even made that point. He's this is probably the best class that you'll see. And I think it can be. We're seeing the talent being juiced out of these guys. I mean, we never thought, and we all knew Luka was going to be good, but I don't think we thought he was going to be instantly this great. This is great. This is great performance. And obviously the best person in the class. Genuinely impressed by DeAndre Ayton's improvement.
Yep.
I think we saw him being the ultimate ideal young center. I think he's actually bringing the game back for centers as well, along with Jokic. And I think that Trae Young, he's getting for being a small guy. I know he doesn't play defense, but I think he has the offensive mindset and just the pizzazz. He just has that. He and Luka just do random between the legs passes, and it just made basketball fun again. Less orthodox. And
then there's also SGA in that class, and there's also if Jaren Jackson Jr. ever gets healthy, he'll be really good. And there's other guys too that I think I'm not even remembering, but it's a loaded class, man. That's one that is gonna be probably an all-timer when everything's said and done.
I know, and I feel I just gotta re-download 2K19 just so I can just run it back with that rookie class. I don't know if I'm gonna do it, but I feel I gotta do it just to see what we can do. Because most of the time when I play, Luka went to the Suns, and the Suns won the title that year. All right, so they won it that year. So maybe that could have been the situation. It could have been a win-win for everyone in that case. But last thing, talking about hyped draft classes, obviously the one coming up and Tuesday being the NBA draft lottery. I was telling Kevin earlier about tankathon.com. We're having a good time just simming the lottery a bunch of times, and how the Chicago Bulls always lose their draft pick and always pick at number 7. With that being said, Houston Detroit and Orlando are tied for the highest odds with 14%. Then OKC, Cavs, Warriors pick as well from the Timberwolves, the Raptors, and then Bulls. Of course, the Bulls, pending. If it falls out of the top three or top four, I think it's top four protected, if I'm correct. Then it goes to Orlando. But a little concerning. I ran the sim one time, and the Spurs were number one, so that's what I'm hyping for right now.
I just ran the sim, and it has the top three is San Antonio, Houston, Chicago. So I'll take that. I'll take it.
Exactly. I won't be mad. Like I said, I'm here for 10-point guards on the roster at this point. I think we know Cade Cunningham, probably the projected number one. I know the first 3-4 picks are going to be very good. And I know next year's draft is going to be really good. But talking about this draft, predictions on who's going to be top three.
The players, I think would be, yeah. I think Cade's going first no matter what. And then what was the I'm trying to remember the other kid's name.
Yeah, Evan Mobley.
Evan Mobley will be second. I think Jalen Suggs will be third, and I think that's going to be the order almost no matter what.
Okay. Okay.
That's my guess. And then I guess some folks have Jalen Green going above Suggs, so I guess I could see that.
I mean, we love in G League basketball, right? Once they have a non-COVID season, I think that can be worth it, maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see. But with excluding the players now, which teams are going to be getting the top three?
The Bulls going first.
Okay, let's go. Kevin, you're next.
It happened with Derrick Rose. It can happen again.
Yo, Bulls are either going to get the fourth pick and get their their top four protected pick, or they're going to get the fifth pick and just barely lose it. There's no in between.
Probably
get seventh like they do every fucking year anyway.
Yeah.
So
there's another Kobe White out there for you guys. That's what you need. I mean, man just got surgery. You need new guard. Maybe Lonzo's in the market. We'll have to see. I know OKC is really trying to stack this draft. I mean, obviously 5 first-round picks, fourth best odds basically to get this. I feel like Cleveland might sneak away because they're fucking snakes every time they get the number one pick in the past 5 of the last 10.
3, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's been nuts. I feel like Orlando needs some hope, and maybe. I mean, I don't know if it's good for Cade, but I mean, it might be kind of fun, just it start from scratch, have to see there. But with the Warriors, kind of just get it. I'd be a little, that'd be kind of a little fun right there. I don't know. I mean, this could go to anyone. I ran the simulations many times. I think of 10 times, 7 times I went to Toronto, and maybe the Arn Jesus was coming in and basically saying, I mean, I know you guys play in Tampa, Shea-Town, but you guys are going to go home, play next season, so you guys deserve number one pick. We'll get Kyle Lowry out of here. Everyone's going to be happy at this point. So Tuesday night, maybe we'll do a little Instagram live. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we'll just have our reactions. I'll yell at Kevin for some reason because I just do that for tradition. And then maybe we can watch some tears come from Chicago fans as well. So good or bad. It could be happy tears. You never know. But with that, Kevin, per usual, wrap this up.
Thank you guys for listening. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, other social media. Email us at the g3pod@gmail.com. Listen to us wherever you want to listen to us. YouTube, Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. I don't know you. I don't know your life. Do what you want to do. But thanks for listening. So cool.
Second episode, who dis?